We have to prepare for a fight. The Supreme Court is ready to install an illegitimate president, in my mind. Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Well, the first day of what may well be a 2, 3, 4, 5 day week, maybe 2 weeks. I mean, keep in mind, Bush v. Gore ran all the way up to the end of the year. Process that will decide who the next president is. We'll see. I mean, it depends on how much of a landslide it is, but it's a week from today. So there's that. And in the second hour of our program, by the way, Dr. Justin Frank, the professor of psychiatry at George Washington University, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, and MD. He wrote Bush on the Couch and Obama on the Couch, and now he's written Trump on the Couch. And he's going to be talking about the Supreme Court. He actually wrote a brief, a friend of the court brief, an amicus brief, that was accepted by the Supreme Court in the 2000 Bush v. Gore case. So we'll be talking with him about that. And in our third hour, you know, when we have science topics, we tend to delve into them in our third hour most aggressively. And Brian Marquescu is going to be with us about how psychedelics played a role in the founding of Christianity. And I am looking forward to that conversation. It's going to be fascinating. But meanwhile, Amy Coney Barrett is going to be officially sworn in. It may have already happened in Washington, D.C. by John Roberts at the Supreme Court. These swearing-ins that they've had at the White House so Donald Trump can get his face in the middle of a photo op with Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch and now Amy Coney Barrett are all merely ceremonial. They're not real. It's just, you know, for the photo ops and the media and all that kind of stuff. But now, you know, if not shortly, you know, if not a short time ago, a short time from now, Amy Coney Barrett will be on the court. She will be sworn in, and she will be about doing the court's business. And there will be a solid 6-3 hard right majority on the Supreme Court, put into place by a series of illegitimate Republican presidents. You know, in 2000, the Supreme Court put George W. Bush into the White House. They are preparing to use that power, this awesome power that the Supreme Court has taken onto itself, and the awesome power, frankly, that the Constitution conferred on it in the first place. They're preparing to use that power in ways that, frankly, I don't think we've seen in the United States since pre-1927. And, you know, it's the Susan Sarandon thing, you know. She was like, you know, people are asleep, and if Trump becomes president, well, that'll wake them the hell up, and it sure did, right? It's not the way I would have wanted it to happen. I'm not a fan of that line of thinking, but it has woken the hell up a lot of Americans. And when the Supreme Court starts not just striking down Obamacare and the rest of the Voting Rights Act and maybe even the Civil Rights Act, and God only knows what else they're going to go after, obviously Roe v. Wade. But when they and gutting, you know, further gutting your right to unionize, there have been over 30 cases that the Supreme Court has decided since the 50s, gutting your right to unionize. But when they start striking down Social Security and Medicare, when they start striking down, you know, the minimum wage and long-term unemployment insurance, because none of those things are in the Constitution. And this is the whole, you know, kind of shtick and scam that these originalists and textualists, which are, you know, just fancy words they use to say, we know what the Constitution means, and we know what the founders meant, and you don't. And it's just, it's a religion that these guys are practicing. It's got a belief system. It's got a priesthood. It's just a religion. And Brett Kavanaugh just signaled that he is more than willing to help Donald Trump get a second term. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump put him on the court. Brett Kavanaugh was very upset by the hearings where Christine Blasey Ford came forward and accused him of sexual assault. And he promised revenge, you'll recall. In fact, I believe he did it during the hearings that he promised revenge. Well, here it is. The Supreme Court has single-handedly decided that corporations should have the rights of persons. This was some time ago, but this was never put into law by any legislature. It was never signed into law by any president. It was the Supreme Court writing the law. The Supreme Court decided that money is the same thing as speaking. Having money in your pocket or spending money to influence an election is the same thing as speaking out or writing an op-ed. That money is speech. It was never, again, put into law or anything else. I mean, this is just the power that the Supreme Court has. The Supreme Court has gutted the rights of workers. They've devastated environmental protections. They've ripped apart civil rights and voting rights laws. And they're continuing to do this, by the way, and I'll get into more detail on that in a few minutes. And they've made it harder for the average person to hold banks and financial institutions accountable for their ripoffs. They've empowered CEOs and giant corporations and reduced the power of voters, average citizens, and consumers. And now they're getting ready to preparing to hear cases that would gut abortion rights, that would kill off Obamacare and healthcare rights more generally, even possibly destroying institutions like Social Security and Medicare. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I believe it was Sheldon Whitehouse. It might have been another senator who asked Amy Coney Barrett, is Medicare constitutional, is Social Security constitutional? And rather than simply saying, well, yeah, of course, they've been the law in the United States for over, Social Security 90 years, Medicare 50 years, 60 years, she didn't say that. She said, basically, I'm not going to tell you what I think about that. I mean, the Supreme Court's power is extraordinary, but the reality is that it's also balanced in the Constitution by power given to Congress in Article 3, Section 2, which gives the Congress the power to regulate the court and to define exceptions to what the court can rule on. And, Congress hasn't used that power in a long, long time, but they can do it. They decide how many people are on the court. They've changed the number of people on the court numerous times, twice in response to right-wing efforts. John Adams cutting the size of the court to burn Thomas Jefferson, and the Republicans in the House and Senate cutting the size of the court to burn Andrew Johnson. Excuse me. So what else can Congress? Congress can decide how many people are on the Supreme Court. As I just said, they can force the court to operate under the Federal Code of Judicial Ethics, so that Clarence Thomas and his right-wing buddies can no longer be wined and dined by right-wing billionaires. Congress can pass laws telling the court what cases and what issues they may or may not decide. That's an extraordinary power. Congress can expand the entire federal judiciary, including the court, to dilute the power and impact of Trump's unqualified right-wing judges. And the question now is whether Congress is actually going to do that. Because if they do, if the Democrats seize control of the House and Senate and begin to try to constrain this court, you are going to see an explosion that's going to make the Tea Party look small as the right-wing billionaires start pouring money into AstroTurf organizations, the long-established ones and the brand new ones that they're going to create. And you're going to see all these Trumpanzees out there. They're going to these Trump humpers. They're going to shift, right? They're going to start, because they're all getting their information from the right-wing billionaires, whether it's being shoveled to them via right-wing billionaire Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook, or whether it's however it's getting there. Or whether it's coming through, Charles Koch and via FreedomWorks or whatever it may be. Shelley Adelson shoveling money out the door. And they are going to raise holy hell. They're going to say, oh, you're packing the courts, and how dare you, and you have no right, and, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And the Democrats have to look at what Mitch McConnell did. It's a conversation I had with the conservative woman who called at the very end of the show yesterday. Everything the Republicans have done was legal. It might have been immoral. It might have been huge violations of standard practices and tradition, but it was legal. And all these things that I'm talking about here, the Democrats can do, and they are legal.